Hello and welcome once again to another episode of Third Action. I am your lovely host, Jason, and these are the same three tumbling boulder traps that were here last week. In the bottom left, we have Charlotte playing Ash. I almost said Charlotte, Human Ranger. Charlotte playing Asher
Yes.
Ford, Human Ranger.
Asher is
It's
definitely
me,
human.
the Human Ranger in real life and in fake life.
In the bottom middle, we have Will, who's very pink today, playing Greshy Ironroot, Dwarven Druid.
I just like being fabulous sometimes. Nothing wrong with that.
And in the bottom right, we have Adam playing Gunn, Shough, Human Champion of Erastil.
Evening, everybody.
And today we have a show, another show. Always with the shows, unending, unceasing.
A friend of mine had a party. The DM said you must all be humans, so he showed up with a drow named Hugh Man. And the
That
DM
show
let it
won't
fly.
work on me, though.
You just
All right.
just allow Gun Show instead.
Exploration music. Okay. So, last time on Third Action, our party, you assaulted the Storval Stairs. There was a group of, I want to say 6-7 stone giant, not stone giants, hill giants. 7 hill giants there. You defeated them all with relative ease after a bit of name calling and rock throwing and hammer swinging. You all emerged relatively unscathed but tired from the fight. You did a little bit of investigation, having cleared the stairs out of giants. I believe Gunn flew a bit further south to check and see if any giants were on immediate approach. You did manage to see some giants heading out westward towards the Lamplack River, but no large clusters that you were expecting.
The fact that they seemed to be actively avoiding the stairs is what kind of got me to think that we should just move on.
Yeah, so I guess you returned to the group, and where last we cut you off, you were discussing some ideas of what might be going on in the region, and
Right.
figuring out what to do next. So I guess we'll go ahead and jump over to the map view as you guys are preparing, I believe, to leave the Storval Stairs. What would you like to do? You can either pick up that discussion, or if you've got an exact plan, you can go for it.
Well, I don't
Let me know what
much.
you want.
I don't know that there's much else to be said. Asher had a theory that sounds plausible.
What was my
That-
theory?
That each of the Runelords has a territory,
Oh, yeah.
and that they're bringing back the people from the Wrath territory to the Greed territory to sacrifice them.
Yes, that was my theory. I remember now.
We don't know what might define the territories, but it could be that each one has some kind of base somewhere, altar.
I'll say this much: I'm not sure they're necessarily going for a different territory, so much as they're just going where people are.
Could be.
Because if I recall correctly, there's not nearly so many established settlements up in the hills up here, where if this is where greed is set up around,
So the
They're not gonna
region
have
that
as many
you're
places to
going
take from.
towards is the Storval Plateau. Whoa, what's going on there? There we go. The Storval Plateau. And you're right, there's not that much in the way of cities out here. It's mostly just known as giant territory. The Shawanti people, nomadic ancestry of people who, or I guess ethnicity of human, frequents the region, but they operate in smaller tribes. They're one of the native peoples of Varizia, alongside Varizians. But
Well,
they don't
if they're
have
looking
like
for-
explicit cities.
Weren't Weren't all the people in Magnamar being sacrificed to greed as well, though?
Yeah, I think so.
So, might just be they're going where the people are.
Hmm.
And taking them and sacrificing them for whatever purpose.
They want to be where the people are.
They want to see them dying.
But I guess
Reed's the only one
what,
asking for sacrifices, maybe.
what initially sparked this was Asher noticing that these statues that flank the Storval stairs are of who he's guessing is Karzug, the Runelord of Greed. And you've previously seen other statues of this particular person prior times in your journey, as well as at least one statue of Elasnist, the Runelord of Wrath. So that's what kind of sparked this discussion.
I thought he was a lovely lady at first, but I was wrong. He was an ugly man.
You could be a lovely man.
No,
Okay.
he was an ugly man.
He
didn't look too
is
healthy.
beautiful.
He is not.
He had some weird hands, if I recall.
He had those, like...
But yeah, I don't have anything else, so I think we could probably push on.
Sure. I
and
don't think
get a couple more hours of travel in today.
I don't think there's much use in
There he is.
spending time here. So I think oh, there's a statue. I think we can make a few more days at 40 feet per round. Correct? Because Asher, you can move pretty
So,
quick
yes, I can go
Yes, we can go
40 for 8 hours.
We can go 40 without using any spells, and 60 with your 2 phantom steeds.
Just
now.
note
80.
that.
Well, 60, I guess, based on you.
So it depends a little bit on where
As
you're
the slowest
going.
person.
So you are at the Storval Stairs
That's
now. Where you're going is somewhere within the Iron Peak Mountains, along one of the rivers. You don't know exactly where you're heading because you left your giant friend behind. He just kind of pointed at a map. So you'll be needing to go through both difficult terrain and with an unsure specific location in mind. So you'll need to either do some broad searching or possibly try to track the giants through the mountains.
I imagine Asher is pretty good about tracking. And
I hope so.
Gunn isn't terrible handed at either. That
I'm also good at
said,
terrain.
if we
Asher is
spend
also
some
very-
more time traveling, are we at the mountains yet?
Any
You're
foothills?
kind of at the edge of the mountains, or like
Okay.
you're what, a couple miles away from the mountains.
Mhm.
Well, if we're at the stars, we've got
yeah, you're maybe
a good-
about 10 miles away from what I would consider mountainous terrain.
and
The
let's see, so
Storval
if we-
plains are pretty like flat. You're basically flat land and then suddenly mountains.
Mhm. So if we travel the 10 miles and then make camp before the mountains, I can get us horses tomorrow.
Mhm.
We do still have to be careful with them, Asher.
I fell off mine second.
You did. You didn't get a rock thrown at you, you just let yours fall to the ground. It's
True. That's like a rock kind of hitting it just from the
a
bottom.
very large rock from underneath, I suppose, if you want to be like that.
Came right up.
I don't really know how gravity works, but
I'll be careful with my horse.
well, it's just more of a warning tomorrow that if we get spotted, we're much more vulnerable that way.
Mhm.
I can prepare some feather falls just in case, but something to keep in mind. But we could travel to the foot of the mountains, and then we can take off and start flying and trying to scout from the air. Because if this
Sounds
is big
good.
enough, I think you should be able to see it pretty good.
Yep, I would agree. I expect we would be able to see it in a flyover before we
Just-
get too close.
Downside is it does waste another day, but I also don't think we're going to make it quite particularly far through the mountains with what we have left of the day.
Agreed.
No, you've spent a little over half of the day so far,
Mhm.
which gives you maybe about probably 3 hours of good travel time.
So if a full day's travel at 40 is 32.
You get
that
4 miles per
means-
hour, so
Okay, so there you go. So 12 miles, so 10 miles effectively should be fine. It's
Yeah.
within range without... We'd just be a little bit short, technically, of what we could have done. So, we should... I would suggest then we aim... Well, so we're not there, to be clear, Adam. We're down here.
you're
right,
yeah.
right.
You start from the base.
We start from the little point there. But if
Good
yeah,
call.
if we aim for 10, 12 miles till we get to the base, thereabouts,
It'll get you right to the foothills.
that sounds perfect. I'll
Okay.
mount up on Phelan.
Complete that. All right, you mount up on Phelan. Start going. Assume everybody's following, or
Yeah. No, I'm going all the way back.
Asher decides to go.
Should we
his own
head a
way.
little more? Well, I don't know if that's a real pass to go.
no, those aren't.
Then
That's not
through here.
That's not a mountain pass. That's all just mountains.
Okay.
Probably some sort of pass that Asher could
Individual
probably
mountains
figure
are
out,
not real
No,
individual-
that's not representative of individual mountains. No.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
but- Jason,
don't.
next time you draw this map, could you actually draw every individual mountain and foothill
I didn't
for us?
draw this map.
Next
I
time you
want
draw
to
this map,
Google
I-
Maps.
I realize
like,
that I'm just
beautiful
it's
satellite
hard
photo.
to
Sure. Here, I'll
reconcile.
outline that whole region. Everything inside the orange.
it's literally just one giant mountain.
Here,
You're always
and
climbing up, no matter where you're at.
I'll include that too. That's all difficult terrain.
That's
Cool.
very rude.
It's fine.
But yeah, it's basically just a big series. It's a big mountain range out there. So, okay, party should be able to make the rest of the journey this evening fairly easily. Gunn flying a bit overhead. Asher just jogging to keep up with Phelan, who's plodding
Sauntering.
along.
Just somehow really fast.
Well, he's big, so he just has very large footsteps. He's also a
So
dog.
quick, where you look like you're going so slow.
I guess Asher can also morph into animals along the way to.
I
Well,
like you.
if I do that, I go 60. So I'm
Aye,
fast.
but we're
Yeah,
still
that's true.
Yeah.
the slowest.
I
person
know.
is still
So
taking
I'll just walk,
Okay. Yeah, Asher's just speed walking.
getting my steps in.
Okay, so by the evening time, you are able to make it across the plains towards the foothills of the Iron Peaks, the mountain range to the east of the Storval Stairs. The clouds. Sorry, I'm thinking. It's kind of light on clouds on this side of the mountains, but you can see fog kind of rolling in over the hills. It makes as good a place as any to camp. So you find a small wooded area with a little bit of visual protection, and make camp, setting up your explorer's yurt, having some food for the evening. Does anybody want to do anything in particular?
I have a question for Greshy.
I also do.
Oh, all right, sure.
Greshy, are you able to perform any sort of scrying or clairvoyance spells that could help us get a scout or a look at?
So the simple answer is no. I am not able to really see anything remote magically like that. The complicated answer is that there may be magic out there that does exist, but I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
So it's nothing. I don't think that's something that nature reveals to me in that sort of way. That said, the mist doesn't really affect me too much. So if we're inundated by fog, I can see pretty clearly through it.
Okay.
Asher?
My question. Can you craft arrows? Was that something you could do?
Oh, sure.
What do you need?
Just supplies. You can find me, well, I imagine if it's just some basic arrows, we can get some stones and start to make some arrowheads pretty easily, but we're going to need some actual, sticks, some wood to actually craft properly. It'll take me some time too. I'm not super quick about it.
I need some if we have any kind of downtime, but I have to search for sticks. Jason, are there sticks and stones nearby?
It is a wooded area, so you could attempt to gather some supplies. Give me a survival check.
Survive. 20. Just a normal 20, not a natural 20.
Just a normal 20. Okay, you're able to gather up enough supplies, just simple twigs and like hardy enough twigs, some small stones and things, equivalent to make about 20 arrows.
Cool. Well, I will bring that to Greshy. I don't know how long.
So, I mean,
Gonna
since
take.
this is technically a crafted item, it would take me about a day
Okay. If we
to
ever
make
have
all 20
time,
arrows.
this would
Yeah,
be
so
something
for me that would
good.
be 8 hours worth of time. So you could
Okay.
split it across 2 nights if you wanted.
Sure. So I can spend some time tonight working on some, and then I can get the rest done tomorrow night, depending on where we're at.
It takes Asher enough time to go gather all the supplies that you wouldn't really have the time tonight.
Okay, then
But I
next
have
couple of
them.
nights, you have the supplies. I can make them over the next couple of nights. We can get you.
Cool. That's all I really need
Nice.
to know.
Good to know.
Because with my hunted shot now, I'm like, ooh, there's a very real chance I could run out of arrows.
We do go through arrows a bit faster. We might be able to, depending on what we find there. I don't know that Lamia ever used bows that I've seen.
I could also help find some sticks or something. I could look as well.
Wouldn't hurt. I mean, the more the merrier. It'd still take me some time to craft it, but
Yeah, just having the material on hand is nice. Was more what I was trying. Because currently I have a decent amount, but they start to go pretty fast.
in game terms, it doesn't specify you have to have a gold amount of materials. We just happen to be in a place where it's not like I can go to town and be like, hey, I need 5 silver worth of sticks.
Yeah, which is why I allow you to forage for those materials, because they're fairly easy to find.
It's not so bad, but I do
At
take
least
the
in
time
an
to craft it.
environment that is conducive to it.
Should I make a roll as well then?
Sure, if
I
you
realize
were going to
what
go out
Asher's
around the same
doing.
time. Sure.
Well, I mean, I probably will. I'd imagine Asher doesn't really announce what he's doing, but I probably watch him and go like,
Let's go find
"What are
some
you?
sticks.
What are you doing?"
Sticks for arrows.
Oh.
And rocks, I guess. Sticks and
Oh
stones.
yeah, okay.
Or
I'll help.
breaking bones.
Give me something to do. So
Sure.
Excellent.
Yeah, you can also roll a survival.
there is a 25.
25. Okay. Yeah, you're also able to find enough materials for about 20 arrows.
Cool.
That would just about double my arrows, if eventually.
So yeah, give me 3 or 4 days. Should be able to do something and start.
Yeah, and if there's
you've
no
got, like,
time, then there's no time.
You've got a bundle of basically arrows, bendy
arrows.
sticks, some small pebbles, and a collection of bird feathers to use to feather the arrows. But okay.
Start using rocks.
Where did we get the bird feathers?
I mean, maybe you collected a couple of them from Rock.
Special feathers.
He
This is
is
a special
Rock
feathers.
is rapidly molting. Like he's losing feathers constantly
That's probably
at
true.
this age. You get the sense that he's not done growing. He's still got very patchy, splotchy colors of feathers all about him. So A lot of his like white pin feathers are still falling out all the time, so there's enough feathers there to make some arrows
Nice.
out of.
Awesome.
Special arrows.
Okay.
Friendship arrows.
While they're
so-
doing that, I would like to spend
Mhm.
some time meditating on the nature of the reincarnate spell to see if there's a way to do the same thing without them coming back as something else.
Sure. Give me a nature roll.
Sure. I'm not looking for an answer right away, by the way. This is more of a ongoing thing for Greshy. 34 total.
34. As you meditate on this kind of new power that you've gained, this ability to perform this ritual, it certainly doesn't seem like you can control it. Like it is part of the natural process that you're just adjusting to your will. It's hard enough to bring the soul back into a body at all, and you kind of get the sense that whatever they come back as is just nature's will. It is what nature has deemed appropriate for them to return as.
If they all come back as Shunies, I swear to God, though, we're gonna be the most adorable fighting squad.
Very cute.
Imagining Greshy as a Shuni with also Phelan as a pet still.
He's a Shuni, but like the top of his head is just white fur and very short.
That would be very odd.
I mean, Greshy as a Shuni would be very odd. But that gives him some information that is useful. And that would be it.
Okay.
And, before we make camp, I'm also going to use a little more healing power on Rock to get him back up.
All right. So you use another lay on hands on Rock to heal him up. Where did Rock go? Is Rock not on the... I'll find Rock. Maybe he was also deleted in the great deleting that happened at the end of last session.
There were some mistakes were made.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything before the end of the day? Or as night settles in, you take watches outside the yurt. But otherwise, we go onward. Toil day, Neth the 26th. You awaken in the morning. Some of the low-hanging clouds have kind of settled into the foothills around where you are. Visibility's still pretty good, but it's just a little bit foggy. You can still kind of make out the edge or the kind of outline of the mountains off in the distance. Very imposing, I guess.
I have to ask at this junction, is there anything suspiciously magical about this fog?
You sniff at the air. Give me a nature check.
Might I assist on that? Give me
Sure.
lead action?
You would each just independently roll nature.
Oh, either way, that's fine. Because that's a good call.
Seems
36
fine
for
to
me.
me.
I have a 20,
36 and 20. Okay.
so if I don't know, I'll ask Greshy. Like, does this fog seem weird to you? Magical?
Yeah, you take in a deep breath, Greshy, and no, seems like normal fog. You venture that it'll probably dissipate by morning, or by like 10 a.m. or so. You're all probably up at like the crack of dawn. Since you're
Morning
kind of
fog.
yeah.
It'll burn off. Just gotta give it some time. It'll make it a little harder to see, but just as I said, follow me. I'll make sure not to outpace you.
I won't leave everyone behind.
All
As
right.
part of being part of the storm order, I do not take any circumstance penalties for perception checks caused by weather,
Mhm.
natural weather. So,
Okay. Yeah, you don't, Greshy, you don't get the sense that this is anything magical or nefarious at all. It just seems like the natural weather of the mountains up here. There's probably a great deal of water nearby that gets burned off. If you look at the map, the Storval Deep's right on the other side.
Oh.
well, I thought all that water would have flown south by now.
No.
I don't know if they've ever fixed the dam.
Well, this is good. This is good. The fog is here.
The fog
No
being here
one's
means
dead.
they have fixed the dam. Everything's fine. Nothing bad will happen.
Never.
All right. What would you guys like to do?
Greshy will spend 20 minutes casting Phantom Steed twice
Okay.
at 6th level. And we'll summon 2 green horse things. Don't remember what we called them last time, but seemed appropriate.
Kelpies.
Kelpie. Yeah.
That's right.
Kelpie. Okay. So you reform your 2 mystical fae horses. One for you, one for Asher. What's their speed again?
At this level, it's 80. So I think right now, Rock is the one who slows us down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Still
Rock
pretty
is
fast.
60? Or...
Correct.
Okay.
I would not be averse to you guys scouting by air a little ways away.
Could do.
Yeah.
Just don't want to get
So-
too far ahead.
So as you make your way into the mountains, you'll need somebody to be taking the track exploration action, which will cause they will have to move at half speed to do that,
Okay.
unless you've got
It's
something
just
that
still-
reduces that.
That would put us at 40 overall, which is still pretty good. So I know Asher's better
Mhm.
at tracking.
I can track.
In the morning, though, I'm worried that the fog might impede you a bit.
I can't see very well. I will have to do it by taste only.
I mean, it depends on how far up you are. It's certainly much
That's true,
easier
we
to
could fly
track
over the
closer to
fog.
the ground.
Yeah, I could be on the ground. Then I won't fall to the ground.
Up to you. You're going to be more visible that way, though. You're pretty quick, so if something catches you by surprise, you could probably get away, but...
If something happened to the horse, I could get away, even if the terrain was rough, pretty fast.
True. My concern is depending on how high up you are.
Yeah,
I mean,
I could just kind of stick safely.
okay. If it's not too far up,
Yeah.
sure. Well,
I could also be
alright.
pretty close to the ground, like looking for trails and tracks. and
I do
stuff.
trust Asher to be better at that than I am. I'm alright, but I'll admit flying is not something I'm super experienced in. Really, Gunn is the most experienced flyer of us 3, I think.
Yeah, I've been flying for 3 whole days now.
I mean,
We've
that's
seen
better
him
than
fall.
R2. Actually, really just 1 plus this one, so... Aye, Asher, if you wouldn't mind scouting a bit.
I'll do it.
Okay. If you want to do some scouting, go ahead and give me a survival check to track. Everyone else, so I guess Asher's pretty low to the ground. What are the other 2 doing
We'd
while
be a bit
Asher's
higher
tracking?
up. I mean, we're going to be trying to fly up and over the mountains, so we're going to fly that way.
Looking for a
Uh,
city.
If you guys
Basically.
are up, you won't be able to see where Asher is. If you're like above the fog.
I can make loud
I
screaming
mean,
sounds.
I'd be fine being through the fog. As long as we're not too far away that Gunn can't see me. I can squint through the fog pretty good, so that'd be fine.
Yeah, and I think at least once the fog burns off, If we're looking for something that is, in fact, a city, we might be able to see it from higher up.
But for now, the fog actually kind of protects us a bit, so it might be worth
True.
sticking through that. So we'll stay in the fog. So the 40 or 50 feet up, that would be.
Fair idea.
Okay. Okay, there we go. What was your total? Why is it not showing?
Got a
There it is,
37 for survival,
37 for survival. Okay.
which is almost nearly the best roll I can do.
Whoop. One sec. Different. Yep, there it is. You have to. Oh, fine. No, it's okay. All right. In that case. Yeah. Okay. So, Asher, you're pretty close to the ground, moving your way through the trees, in the mist, at least for the early part of the day. And you're trying to find any signs of giant tracks as you make your way up into the mountains. The terrain is pretty rough, and wild and natural. It's pretty difficult to find or to keep track of any tracks that you do find or maintain. Or every once in a while you find something that's like a tree that's been kind of knocked slightly off of its roots, as if a giant had knocked it over. But you notice that a lot of the small signs that you are picking up seem to be intentionally covered up. Like this tree that you'd noticed that was slightly off its roots looks like it was actually intentionally kind of placed back a little bit. There's a few signs of tracks that have been intentionally covered up with like leaves strewn about the ground. Whoever you're following certainly seems to know their way through the wilderness, through this sort of terrain. They seem to be intentionally trying to cover up their tracks. But with the 37, you are able to follow them at least for 4 hours of the day. So for the first 4 hours, you're able to. Let's see. So you guys, what was your speed? Your overall speed
Asher
is
tracking
60.
it'd be 40. Overall
yeah,
is 60, but with Asher, if Asher is 80 and cutting that in half would be 40, I think.
Okay, so yes,
I'm not
40.
I'm
so
not doing
40 for
anything that
everyone.
takes a half speed.
Right.
Right. Okay, so for 4 hours, traveling at 4 miles an hour, it's obviously 16
No.
divided by. But
Wait, is it 4 miles an hour?
for 40 feet, 40 foot
40
speed
feet?
is 4 miles an hour. Yeah.
That's correct.
For some
so-
reason, sorry, my bad.
We can travel about 16 miles in for 4
yeah,
hours.
it would normally be 16 miles, but through the mountains, that's only 8. So you're able to
Even
move.
if we're flying?
Yes.
Okay.
Flying through difficult terrain doesn't help, but it helps you guys, but doesn't help Asher, who's tracking stuff through the woods on the ground.
But I'm okay. Or is my horse not okay?
Your horse is okay too.
Do you have difficult terrain helps you? So you have stuff that gets rid of difficult terrain, I believe, in combat. Do you have things that mess with difficult terrain during exploration?
Oh, I see.
Your horse ignores natural difficult terrain, if that helps.
That's true. That's its feature from like 3rd level, isn't it?
I don't know, but it's at 6th level, that's one of the features.
Let me look at the wording on it, because they do make a distinction.
Oh, of course.
Let me see.
And
Sentinel.
that only helps the horse. I don't know if Asher tracking then slows everything down.
And
further.
Wild Stride is specific to battle, because I didn't copy paste it like that, but I also don't have it.
Yeah.
Right here.
Phantom Speed at 4th says it can walk on water and ignores areas of natural difficult terrain. And then from then on, it also keeps that.
Maybe it's fine. Let me see.
From what I'm reading of Wild Stride, it doesn't specify combat at all.
Sorry, I'm using the phrase difficult terrain. I think I'm... One moment.
Perhaps.
What rule is this?
Yeah, Wild Stride says you can ignore the effects of non-magical difficult terrain.
Now, there is greater difficult terrain, which would probably apply to mountainside. I could see that.
It's normal for ignoring difficult
Yeah.
terrain. This also lets you treat hindrances of greater difficult terrain as those of regular difficult terrain.
Which, if that was the case here, then that would definitely slow Asher down, but not make it so much more difficult, since Asher's pretty good at figuring out wilderness stuff.
I hope I.
No, maybe they don't make a distinction. I thought they did. They just bring up traveling through regions of difficult terrain. It's a little bit weirder because, like, obviously the region is not entirely difficult terrain.
Yeah.
What is Asher's favored terrain type?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No.
No, not unless Asher.
Oh, right.
picked
That's a separate thing.
Yeah, that's a separate feature.
Okay, it says if you have Wild Stride also. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, okay. So in that case, yeah, this would just be non-magical difficult terrain. Okay, so yeah, you're fine. Ignore me.
No, that's good to know.
I was just double checking, because sometimes I copy things and miss a chunk that actually tells me what to do.
Could be relevant. So it would be, we'd be able to make about 16 miles then with our slower speed, since Asher's doing the tracking and scouting and such.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the first half of the day. By this point, the fog has mostly burned off. It's still a little bit thin, but now you are like pretty plainly visible in the sky. The clouds up above you are sparse in comparison. And this is, I guess this would be roughly, if you left around 8, this would probably be about noon, yeah, midday.
Should we climb up to like 500 or 1,000 feet? Or
I want to, but if Asher's been able to track so far this successfully, it may behoove us to keep Asher close enough to be able to see these signs.
fair?
And
You guys
I'm
can
assuming
float
that
around
Asher's.
too.
I'm assuming Asher's been communicating
Yeah.
to us that he's seeing things
How so?
and that it's being
Yes.
hidden.
No, I'm completely silent. Secrets for me only.
That's a good
No,
point.
I'm communicating.
Let's
the-
keep doing that, and stay and keep low to avoid detection. In fact,
I'd rather be high than low, but I think that Asher's going to be able to see and track better from a lower vantage point.
in fact, it might make sense for both of us to do the avoid detection action while moving
I'll slow us down further, but we could do so.
a little bit further, from 40 down to 30.
I'm just saying, it'll slow us down further, but I think you're right. That's actually a good idea. So we'll try and avoid detection while Asher's doing tracking, and we'll stay reasonably low to the ground, about where we were when we were in the fog, just without
Mhm.
fog.
Okay. So Asher is gonna keep trying to search for tracks down low, while the others are keeping a bit higher up, but not as high up as before, and trying to avoid notice specifically. Okay. Asher, while you're making your way through the wooded areas along this mountainside, you come across a very curious sight. A kind of open clearing along a cliff face, where there are a series of boulders stacked up on top of each other, like little towers. They're pretty decently sized boulders too, like a couple of feet in like radius, I guess. All stacked up on top of each other in decreasing order of size. And there's
like a snowman.
There's like 3 of these towers alongside this cliff face. You also notice a smattering of what appear to be like, at a glance, they look like stone spikes embedded into the earth alongside the cliff face and in a few of the trees as you like step out into this clearing. Or as the horse steps out into the clearing.
This looks spooky. Is there any way to figure out if this is some kind of trap?
No. Sure.
No.
What's let's see.
It's just gonna
What kind of
spear me with
what kind of
spikes.
trap do you mean? Like a
So
physical trap, or?
Well, I don't. Maybe I'm having a hard time visualizing in my head. The spikes are on the side of the cliff face.
So you walked out into this clearing that kind of goes up to a cliff side. There's kind of a narrow cliff path, and on the ground there's these 3 little towers of stones, and just kind of all over the place are these little spikes embedded into the cliff wall, onto the ground, into trees. They're kind of scattered about.
Oh. Well, now I don't know what kind of trap this could be. I guess I'll get a bit closer and try and figure out what they are. That's kind of weird that they're like on the trees and ground and everything.
Sure. Yeah, you can
I'll be
try and
careful.
inspect one of these if you want. The spikes, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you make your way over to one of the trees on Phantom Steedback, kind of hop off and move over and like reach out and grab one of these spikes and pull it out of the tree. Give me a... Or actually, I can do the check for you.
Ooh.
Sometimes I actually roll secret checks.
I always forget.
I only do it sometimes. Okay. You're not sure what this thing is, but it's hollow. It's almost like a feather, but without the feathery bits of it. It's like just the central like kind of bone piece
So
of
like
a feather.
a quill?
Yeah, like a quill.
Like something natural. So it's in my head for some reason these are rocks. So it's just like a natural like quill that's kind of stuck all over the place.
They're really big. So at first you did think they were rocks. They're very like beige tan color to them. But as you like pull it out, you realize it's a lot more flexible than you thought. The tip is very sharp. Sharp enough to embed itself in this tree, probably with quite a lot of force, whatever it was shot out from. But they're pretty large. That like you can hold one in your, like you can hold a single one in your fist, like a bottle.
So these seem like they've been like shot from someplace.
Yes. Not
Could
from
I
any
figure
one
out
specific place.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of scattered all over at various angles. So whatever shot them was probably moving.
How many are there? Are there like a lot or just kind of scattered?
Perception. To do some counting.
Counting time. Oh, I've clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. A 30 for my counting.
30. Okay. You take a few minutes to try and count as many as you can see. You count about, you think you counted about like 18, 19?
So an insignificant amount. Is there a creature that could have shot this, or does it look man-made?
It... Right, do you still have,
Dubious knowledge?
you still have dubious knowledge, right?
I always have dubious
Why
knowledge.
would Shough get rid of that? That's one of their
I will
greatest features.
never get rid of it.
I mean, this doesn't help you in this case because, yeah, it's either a creature or it's some kind of like, you've heard tell of a new creation, a relatively new creation called a Gunn.
Oh, guns!
And you know that they fire, they're capable of launching projectiles at terrifying speeds, but you've never seen a gun yourself.
Lies.
Guns. I don't know what they do. Well, okay. And so the rock snowmen, are they just like chilling out together, or what do they look like?
They look like they are very intentionally arranged up against the side of the cliff wall. They look almost ritualistic to you, like probably graves or grave markers.
Oh. Okay. And so it's me, it's the clearing, and then you said there was a path up the cliff or on the cliff?
Yeah, there's a path like along the cliffside. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna carefully make my way over there.
Okay, you carefully
I
make
don't
your way
die.
around the cliff, and you do spot what appear to be more giant tracks that you could follow. It seems like more of the giant's trail that you had been trying to follow.
Is there any like blood or anything around here as I walk through it?
Perception.
Good question. I was reading that one.
A 31.
If you look back over in the clearing that you were just in, you do actually notice some splotches of blood, dried blood here and there, along the rocks. You also notice what appear to be a few spots along the cliff's edge that look like they might have recently broken off.
Like
It's
something
clear that there was
climbed?
either something was climbing up and like broke off, or like broke off the ledge, or someone was standing on the ledge and their weight wasn't supported and they fell.
Okay.
It's definitely two spots that look like they could either be very large handholds, like for a giant, or very large footholds, like someone was standing on it. Also probably a giant.
Well, clearly it was a gigantic porcupine that came through here and fell on its back in the clearing, and all of its little porcupine spikes pulled out. And that's the theory I'm going to go with here.
All right.
Well, so am I near the rocks on the other side? Are they near the trail itself?
Yeah.
And they just look like there's like nothing they're hiding. They're just kind of sitting there, like someone stacked them and left.
You could try to move them. They're pretty heavy though. They don't appear to be hiding anything.
They're just there. Okay.
They seem like the sort of grave marker you might leave behind if you didn't have the body anymore. Like nothing seems to be buried underneath.
Yeah, they're just kind of there. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will continue on. I didn't get murdered by the spikes.
Okay.
Yet.
Or learn anything about them.
All right, give me a survival check then to continue tracking through the mountains.
A 36.
Jeez.
I'm doing well on
36.
that, at least.
Okay.
Take it.
And with Gunn moving half speed.
Greshy is also moving. Well, Greshy's moving same speed as Gunn, I guess.
Right. So you'd
30
both.
feet.
So you'd be dunked to 30 feet. Okay.
Correct. Is that just 3 miles?
So you'd get 3 miles an hour. So you'd get a total of 12 miles. As you continue to make your way through the mountains. And as night approaches, Asher, you are able to find what appears to be a much larger trail that seems to lead down into a valley, or like towards a valley. And it's pretty clear that this trail is pretty heavily, or has been pretty heavily trafficked by giants, or by giant feet.
Cool. Well, that's probably the way to where we need to go. Are the rest of us caught up? I guess I can wait at this point because it's a pretty easy to follow trail.
Yeah, you can wait for a bit for, I guess, Gunn to... I'm assuming Gunn is doing regular message pings to check in.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Otherwise, Asher has
That
no way of
sounds
talking to any of
legit.
you.
Oh, I could have been like, I found some weird quills.
I figured we were just
We
following
were messaging.
Asher.
Like visually, but I think
Yeah.
message seems like a great idea for that purpose.
If Asher
Oops.
like ever
Jason,
turns, if
you're so smart.
Thanks.
if Asher ever like turns around and wants to talk and just does some gesture like, send me a message.
Starts screaming.
Send him a message.
Doesn't understand how it works.
Point to your
Well,
ear.
All right, that changes a little bit. I would have been like, come look at these quills with me. I didn't realize we could do that. That's okay.
Well, maybe
know.
Gunn didn't realize he could do a message check.
we weren't looking
for a
at each
while.
other at the time.
Or maybe he wasn't doing
It's
it
alright.
super regularly. It was kind of intermittent. And since Gunn's the one who has to start it, Asher couldn't really tell him that something was...
I was
Right.
scared and no one was on the other end of the walkie-talkie and it was really bad.
I guess, Asher, just give me an intelligence roll.
Oh, I'm not smart.
Wee-woo.
Where's my intelligence? Wait, do I just click int?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that
it
works.
should roll.
There it goes. Oh,
Whoa!
Okay.
You're really good.
Okay,
Am I
you
smart?
have... Asher has realized that it... perhaps after a little bit of testing, that you can't just think in your head to get a message out to Gunn. He has to message you first.
darn. I was thinking so much.
All of these thoughts and nobody
Now I
could hear
get it.
them.
All right. Well, I guess I'll stare into the sky as I wait near the trail and hope I do that.
Well, yeah, we probably could have set up the whole point at your ear thing in advance. I think that would be more likely.
Weird.
So
Okay.
if I see Asher doing that gesture, I will
Oh yeah, you
pass
guys...
a message and say,
You guys were
"What
both
have you
flying
found?"
low, and you eventually spot Asher there, yeah. As you
and I'll
catch
send
up.
him a message that says, "What have you found?"
I found a big trail that has lots of giant footprints on it. I think we're probably getting close to at least somewhere there's a lot of giants.
Shall we go around or continue on?
I don't know. We can go down. It goes down into a valley. So I think going around would be mountains. Mostly?
Yeah, I mean, you could go a different way and just go through mountains, sure.
Yeah, we can like sneak around another side if you don't want to do the well-worn path.
But it's also late. You're all getting pretty tired
Yeah.
of travel.
After we sleep.
But you can continue
we
if you
should-
want.
Maybe we should get off the path and find a place to camp.
Yes, I agree with that part.
All right,
Okay.
sounds good to me. Just need to find someplace secure,
Hmm.
especially if we're this close.
All right, you find a small, unused cavern. Looks like a bear's den or something. Doesn't, based on nature and survival checks, it doesn't look like it's been used in a while. So you're able to kind of set up camp there, hide the yurt inside, and
Nice.
pack up for the evening. Are you doing anything this nighttime?
Maybe trying to cover up our tracks and secure the area a little bit.
Okay. Gunn can work on securing the site. What are the other two doing?
I'm making arrows since somebody asked me to.
Okay.
So I'll spend
So
4
you're
hours
getting your
doing that.
first 4 hours of crafting on the arrows. Asher, what are you up to?
I'm gonna talk to Greshy as he crafts arrows about the weird quills that I saw, and if he knows anything about things like that.
Rock-shaped quills?
They were big, they were rock-shaped, they were kind of hollow. They look
Rocks
kind
come
of
in all
like-
shapes. So
There's so many different shapes of rock. But it was like, I should have brought one with me. That would have been a good idea. It's big.
I mean, if you think you would have picked one up, you could take one.
Yeah, that I think I would have actually done. I'll show Greshy my big weird quill.
yeah, I was gonna say if there's anything Asher would have done in that situation,
I do collect.
definitely.
You do collect things.
If it was
Yeah, I
viable to
should've done
take
that.
it, I would have, especially if I felt like I couldn't communicate at the time.
Yeah, they're pretty large and sharp, but they're not heavy. It's pretty easy to pick up
Said they're
however many you
hollow.
wanted.
I'll just take one.
Okay.
Those
and
nature
I'll show it
check?
to Greshy.
Should that be a
yeah, you
secret
can
check
do
as
it.
well?
And nature.
Right. I'm going to re-roll.
Nobody knows.
Going to use my
Hero
hero point to
pointing,
re-roll
your
that
natural one.
And that's much better. That's a 32.
32. Hearing this story and looking over this quill, this sounds a lot like a manticore to you.
Giant porcupine.
Not quite.
Not quite.
I was so close. I was really close.
It was a creature, Asher. It was alive. But Manticore is, I'm glad you didn't actually end up fighting that by yourself. That could have been very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, manticores are large, kind of chimera-esque creatures. They've got kind of the body of a what's their body actually?
What do you
It's a
know about
A
lion.
them?
lion?
What do you know about manticores, Greshy?
I know that they have like a scorpion tail and wings.
Wasn't there the stuffed thing was a manticore? In the
Oh
mantle.
yes, you actually did see a manticore, stuffed
Yeah.
manticore early on in the adventure. Yeah, in Aldern's
That's
house. Yeah, he had one of these. So yeah, it's a large, lion-shaped creature with huge dragon or bat-like wings. A lion's mane, but like a human's face, with large, sharp teeth and they come in a few variations, but they often have like a scorpion-esque tail, but just tons of these deadly quills that they fire at their prey.
So, not a good thing to be interacting with on your own, especially. We might have been okay if we were all there, but
I think some giants fought this. I could be wrong, but there were 3 graves that it looked like someone had cleaned up. So hopefully they either chased it off or did something to it. I hope it's not still stalking around.
well, if it is, we may want to. Well, we'll be keeping watches anyway. But if they're clearing out around here, do you think? I don't know if they keep anything worth looking for, though. I don't recall if manticores were keen like some other creatures are for hoarding like goods and gold and such.
Not that you're aware of, no.
Okay. So it wouldn't have been worth going back and looking for anything left behind necessarily.
No, you think they're much more. They're not incredibly smart creatures. They're much more just predators of
Okay.
large beings.
Sure, but they were clearing out along the path there, which makes sense if they were using it regularly. Wouldn't want to have to deal with that to and fro as they were going to try and claim whatever. Still.
Yeah, they are hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm glad I know what it is now. I was very confused.
Understandably. I mean,
Very close.
might as well hold on to that quill, I guess. I don't know what we could use it for, but perhaps it could come in handy for something.
Gigantic pen.
There you go.
What is Gunn's survival modifier? Looks like 15.
It's not too bad.
Okay, I'll go ahead and
Roll it.
you're out covering up tracks. Just trying to cover up the recent tracks you've made to hide where you've decided to camp for the evening.
Right.
After doing what you consider to be a pretty good job, you make your way back to the camp, just in time to have some of the dinner that the yurt has so lovingly prepared for you. It's your favorite again, hardtack and
Gruel.
gruel, yeah.
You don't have any problems with this, right?
Not at all.
I mean, good, because it's just what it is. But it's not so bad. It's food.
I suppose I might start carrying just like a block of cheese around that I can then spice it up with a little bit.
Gruel
Suppose
with
you could.
cheese.
I guess,
No
yeah, if
reason
you've
to
still
go
got
too
rations,
fancy.
you can use some of the stuff from your own rations
I
to...
can't imagine travel rations are going to be much better, though.
They're
I could
probably
forage
a little
for
bit better.
mountain food if you want something tasty, but I can't guarantee it will be tasty. There's a % chance it will be.
There's a possibility that it could be tasty food.
Mhm.
It could also just be mushrooms.
That's true. Mushrooms are tasty.
Depends on the kinds of mushrooms. Some of them just poison you.
Some of them poison you. Some of them give you a good time.
Some of them give you visions that you wish
That's
you'd
a
never
form of
seen.
poisoning too, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Different kind of poison.
Well, it's okay. You live.
It's fine. I did not
Cool.
prepare enhanced victuals, so I'm not able to spice up your meal tonight. Sorry about that.
Oh no, I wasn't requesting it. I was just making an observation. I might
That's
start.
fair.
I might spend a little bit of money on some additional foodstuffs next time.
Salt
I
and
suppose
pepper.
cheese is not
Salt
the
and
worst
pepper
thing
sounds like a
you
good
can
idea.
eat. I think salt and pepper seems like a really good way to spend some money because cheese is alright, but I don't know. It seems strange to be taking milk from a cow or goat or whatever kind of cheese you get.
You guys with your food. I'm the ultimate vegan. I just don't eat.
You're one of those breatharians.
Yes. Mm.
There's the ultimate hipster. Oh no.
Yeah, the the hardtack is still created for you, Asher, but it just kind of sits there and you just stare at it.
And eventually it
I
spoils.
don't have to eat it. If it was tasty, I would eat it, but I know what this is. Thank you, though.
All right. Unless anybody's going to do anything else before bed, you take up your watches for in sequence for the evening. Gunn, give me a perception check.
Can do. We have a 21.
21. Ooh. That's a good question, actually. Okay. So your second watch this night, Asher was first up. Greshy will be last. But things are quiet. A bit of snow falls, just a tiny bit, just a light dusting that evening. You hear a few owls off in the distance, rustling of some leaves every once in a while from the wind. But then you notice something, a crunch of some leaves. Just a small crunch. Sounds like it could be an animal, or like a deer or something small. About 30 feet from the camp.
One moment. I have to check something. I need to check whether my dark vision spell has a verbal component.
Can you whisper?
I believe it
verbal?
does.
You could still whisper verbal components.
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to speak in a...
Oh, right. I guess
Damn.
the part of the verbal is you have to, like,
You actually have to
Scream it.
enunciate it, and dark vision.
it's
does
a
have
word of
verbal
power,
component.
yeah.
Use your power words.
Power words, good.
Yeah, you have to Fusra Da.
I mean, you don't have to be, like, out loud, but you probably have to speak it at least in a normal voice.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest, is that you'd have to do, like, a dark vision. You know, like a low grumble.
Pargon.
Chaturga, Pargon. I haven't played that game in a long time.
I think I'd better do that, because if it's something approaching and it's not hostile, it won't matter that it heard me. And if it is hostile, it probably already knows we're here.
Okay.
If
So
it's that close.
you startled by the sound, you whisper, or I guess you state Pargon loudly, and your eyes, you feel like a tingle in your eyes as the whole of night becomes clear to you, and you're able to see much further than you normally could, even by the moonlight here. Sorry, you were going to say something?
Nope.
No? Okay.
It's just 2 actions. That's all I was checking.
As you're saying that, there's a few more crunches of leaves, and they kind of stop abruptly. Give me a perception check.
Okay. This time we have 29.
Sure.
Okay. You catch the glint of moonlight off of a shiny stone arrow that is pointed in your direction. Seems like someone has notched their bow and is... You can kind of just make out this figure. They appear to be human. They're leaning out of the bushes, and they've got a number of tattoos across their forehead. They're just peeking out from the bush, looking in your direction. Bow drawn, ready to shoot.
I will say, hold on there, friend. There's no need for that. While pulling out my shield.
Okay. Yeah, you reach for your shield, and they fire their bow. What's your AC with a shield raised? You have enough time to get your shield up.
That would be 34.
Okay. The arrow just kind of glances off the shield and strikes the rock behind you. And the figure, who seems to have been startled by you saying something aloud, darts into the bush.
Let's see. So everyone else is sleeping. Is Rock separate from, like, I suppose the rest of them are in the yurt, but is Rock inside or outside of the yurt? Does he fit inside normally?
He could fit inside normally. If you want, he could just be like right near you. He'd just be ruffled up.
He might. Yeah, I figured he might be sleeping, kind of adjacent to where I'm keeping watch.
Yeah.
I'll kind of jab him to try and wake him up. Say, come on, boy.
He wakes quickly and turns to look at what's going on.
And then I will dash off after that person and say, hold, I'm not here to harm you. Why are you attacking us?
Okay. Yeah, you dash out into the darkness, a few steps outside of this clearing clearing just outside the cave, and you see the figure. They stop up ahead after having gone a few paces into the woods, turn and look back at you, and they say something in another language that I don't think you understand. What languages do you have?
I have Common and Gnomish.
Okay.
If I hear something in a language I don't understand, I'll try the same message again in Gnomish. Just in case.
Yeah, you repeat the message. Seemingly they just respond again in whatever tongue that they're using. Give me a society check.
Okay. So do they sound aggressive or... society is... a 19 on the dice for 29 total.
Okay. They are whispering to you, obviously trying not to be too loud. Hearing the tongue, it takes you a moment to kind of register it, but you're pretty sure this is Shough, the native tongue of the Shough people in the region, the nomads I mentioned earlier. You don't speak Shough, so you don't know what he's saying, but you do catch a few words that sound like giant or giants, and you get the general sense of maybe concern or warning or something along those lines.
Okay, I'll lower my voice and slow down and put my hands up and start to walk towards this person and say, okay, I'll keep quiet.
They say a few more words, shaking their head. They not.
Do they look like they're about to run off again?
No, they seem just more frustrated that you don't understand their tongue. Like they weren't expecting to run into somebody who didn't speak Shough.
How do you just not speak Shough? Come on.
They repeat one particular word a few times, which I wrote down but forgot to. Is that the word? I think it is. Oh, come on. Oh, they say a word to you a few times. They kind of repeat it slowly.
I'll repeat it.
You do
back.
recognize it as the word for outsider in Shough. That word is at least common enough to you.
I'll repeat it back to them and say, and like kind of nod my head a little bit. I will hold up 3 fingers and say 3 outsider, and then do like a come this way kind of like gesture. Please come with me back to the pointing towards the yurt. And then like we have food. Come.
Chamek, he repeats. Chamek being the word for outsider that I forgot. Chamek. No. You danger here. Giant gathering. He tries to form in common very loosely. Not safe.
Yes, we know. We fight giants.
He kind of grunts, seemingly unimpressed.
Giants.
Giant. Kill.
Five giant killed.
Many giant. Valley. Do not walk, he says. You're not sure if he got the meaning of what you were saying.
You might be right, Ido. I'm just thinking of the stone giants. When I said 5, not necessarily counting all the ogres and everything.
7 or 8 that we killed at the stairs.
Oh,
anyway.
many more.
You
Please.
Chamek. Shough land.
Giants have taken my people.
Chamek. He's thinking, his eyes narrow, as he kind of places, as he kind of holsters his bow. I'm now forgetting the name.
Please come. We can speak tomorrow with magic.
No. You're not sure if he understood what you were saying. But
yeah, I'm still not, but...
Yeah. Shrikiri kwa. Permit. Still Chamek.
Thank you. And I'll give him like a little bow.
He kind of like presses his fists together and nods and turns and walks away into the woods.
Yeah, I'll go back as well. With Rock. Sorry to wake you up, boy. That was not as much trouble as I thought. In fact, I think we might have some friends in this land. You go on back to sleep.
On hearing that, Rock happily goes back to sleep. And once your shift is over, I forget who I said was next, but
Greshy will be next.
yeah, you can do the changeover with Greshy. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, when I hand off to Greshy, I will definitely tell him we had a visitor at the camp. Some of the peoples that live in this area, humans, spoke a language I don't know and only a very few words of common. But my takeaway is that they will allow us to come through here to hunt the giants. And as long as we then leave again.
Seems reasonable. I wasn't planning to set up shop here.
If we could find them, we might be able to get further aid from them. Especially if we can figure out a way to speak their language.
Unless it's some sort of form of Jotun or Dwarven, but I highly doubt
They
speak some
might
sort of Dwarven.
They might speak some form of Jotun. I don't know. I tried Common and Gnomish.
Didn't get much
No.
much luck there. I mean, either Jotun or if they have a druid, we have ways of communicating. But otherwise, we'll just have to see at that point. But it's worth a shot. I mean, especially if it's a whole fortress of giants, the more the merrier. In the meantime, you get some sleep. I'll think on it.
All right.
All right. Well, with Greshy's watch, the day passes over. It is now Wheel Day at the 27th. Oh, whoops. There we go. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, comprehend languages is one of those that we should, given the opportunity, we should get a scroll and just keep it at all times.
A wand would be best.
A wand, yeah.
You're absolutely right about that. I was about to say, your idea about using other ways to try and communicate is a great one. I have no way to do that. That is not a primal spell. That is a divine or arcane.
I checked it just now. Or occult.
Or cold. Basically, it's
everything
but
except primal.
but it's a good idea, and I have trick magic items, so it'd be worth at least giving a shot at. This morning, because we're in giant territory, I am exchanging my phantom steeds. We'll be traveling on foot. Chain lightning everywhere.
I like it.
All the lightning. All right.
Oh, there are other lightnings that I've also exchanged for. My wall of stone is now lightning storm. There was something at 4th level that I got rid of. Spike stones is now fireball. And I think that's it.
All right.
In terms of spells prepared. I mean, I've got several other spells, but nothing changed from previous days.
Sure. All right.
Actually, I'll drop Shapestone for another heal.
Anyone else making any changes to their loadouts or doing anything weird before setting off?
Nope.
My loadout is probably going to be the same. The only thing I switch out is one cantrip ever. And it's just between Acid Splash, Ray of Frost, and Priest Flame, and I just go with Acid Splash.
All right. Well, in that case, what would you guys like to do? You're not too far from that trail into the valley. You could go some other route. You could follow the trail. You could
We
go
don't have to really be
home.
here.
You could pick a random direction. What do you want to do?
I think I would ask Asher if he can find the tracks left by the Shawanti fellow.
Oh, I can try. I'll go try.
Okay, sure. Give me a survival check. If you want, you can hunt target first.
I did roll as you said that, so nope.
Just a reminder that you can hunt targets based on
I do always
being
forget
aware
that.
of them.
Asher's
And you
always
can do it
hunting
outside of
giants now.
Don't I have to see or
29.
hear them?
You just have to be aware that it's a person that you're tracking. As far as I'm aware, let's see.
That's a good question. I'm trying to
I
remember
can
now.
tell you,
It's hunt prey, right?
it was a human. It was a
It's-
human
Yeah.
male who went through this way.
You must be able to see or hear the prey, or you must be tracking the prey during exploration. So if you're aware of it, yeah, for me that means that you need to like have some tracks or be aware of who it is or like what type of thing you're looking for.
Okay. Because I always assumed I had to see or hear it first, and then I could track it later.
Nope. You could
Okay.
you could find tracks of it or find like a campsite or you could find any kind of remnant of it and track off of that. And that's good enough
Wow.
to hunt prey on.
Now we know for the future.
Yep. But in this case, 29. So you're able to follow the tracks a bit. This person seems pretty well equipped for dealing with the wilderness, a lot like you are. And you're able to follow up to some kind of small campsite where it's not too far from where you guys camped out. It's a little bit further up the mountainside, maybe about 400-500 feet or so, and it's pretty simple. It looks like maybe 3 or 4 people were camping here. No one's there now. You see the remnants of a campfire, and quite a lot of very large feathers hanging around. Like just
Ooh, more feathers.
lying about the camp.
Are there any specific? Could I figure out what they may have come from other than bird, or is it just like?
Sure, yeah, you can do a nature check to try and identify the creature.
A 33.
Okay. So mixed in between the feathers is a little tufts of golden fur. You think that these are probably griffins.
Oh, griffins.
Which are, lion body, eagle head creatures.
So are they like hanging out with griffins?
Either that or they were eaten by them.
Yeah, I'm like, either is there blood here?
Pork
There doesn't seem to be
almost
any
was.
blood here, no. It looks like maybe there were 2 of these creatures here, and they were probably both roosting in the same spot. So it certainly looks like they were at least chummy with them.
I want to be chummy with griffins. That's interesting. Is there any way to see where they went off to, or is this kind of the cold trail? Or maybe they flew.
It looks, you don't see any. It looks like they've flown away. Good luck tracking them in the sky.
I mean,
So does it seem
Asher's
like
an
the
expert.
people also may have flown away on the griffins? Or they're people tracks?
Huh.
You don't see any people tracks. beyond, like, there's obviously some people who were moving around in the camp, but you don't see any obvious tracks leading away anywhere.
Huh. They had cool griffin mounds.
That is cool.
It's cool. But they're not here anymore, and now I'm sad. Well, you had a lot in common. Gunn and Rock and the griffins and these guys.
Yeah. So, what if we explored down the valley, but without going in on the road?
Yeah, we can try that to
Be
sneak
pretty slow
around.
going, but seems like a good idea.
Okay, so basically try to go down towards the valley, but a ways off from the
Off-road.
road. Okay. Yes, that is very doable, especially during the daylight where you can actually see.
Greshy can always see, it's fine.
I guess pick a side. Do you want to be on the north side or the south side of this road into the valley?
North?
Probably
North.
north, based on the fact that we're on the north side of the river and we're heading east here.
Okay.
Don't want to be
Proceed.
caught between the
Well,
giants and the water.
If we do that, at least we have the water to escape it too.
Yeah, but they can go through
God.
pretty deep water while we're supposed to be swimming.
It's a
They
different map.
can't go over moving water.
All right. So, I already updated the date, right? Wheel day, not the 27th?
Mhm.
Yes, that sounds right. Okay, so you guys make your
Wasn't that
way.
yesterday?
Oh, was that yesterday? Did I not actually update it? I was thinking about updating it.
You,
I think
you
that was
did.
yesterday.
I saw
that
you did. No,
That we had that overnight cycle where Gunn met the Shough, and then
It was
today
moon
should
day
be.
to start with, toil day. No, today is wheel day.
Is that right? All right
Yeah,
then.
I think it's correct.
Sure.
I'll fix it if not.
Okay.
I'll fix it in post. Okay,
Fix it in
so yeah,
post, it's
you guys make your
Just
way
cut it.
down through the valley, or alongside the northern edge of the mountain road, and eventually, as the mountains give way to a large open valley up against a ravine, you can see this is about 300 feet up ahead. There is a tall watchtower standing alone at the entrance of the valley. So you guys are kind of uphill from where it is, but this watchtower is just kind of standing there all by itself. It seems to be made of stone. And you can also make out what appears to be a large ring fortress. There are a number of watchtowers around the outer rim of this fortress, as well as it seems like in the center there's some kind of spire shooting straight up. It's like center north, like slightly offset, and on the far southeast side there's what looks like an even larger tower of some sort. It's pagoda-esque in shape, so it's got that kind of like Chinese, Japanese kind of styling with the steepled roof, or like really angled roof with a series of kind of smaller roofs underneath. And you can also make out what appear to be a large number of giant camps surrounding the fortress. Each camp has a number of like a pretty large bonfire with a number of giants surrounding it in smaller tents and other structures, as well as like each camp seems to have one very large tent that seems to be like the main tent for each of the camps. What would you guys like to do? I assume you guys were keeping pretty low on your approach along the valley so as not to be spotted. So you're currently on the ground as you take stock from the hillside. Yeah, what do you want to do?
That's a lot of camps.
It's a lot of giants.
Is
What
there
if we
And yeah, if you want any more details on anything, feel free to scout for information or do some more checks or whatever.
Yeah. How many? I don't know how scouting, if scouting would do this, but how many can we see mulling around, if any?
It's hard to make it out from here. Your guess is that there could be anywhere from like 10 to 50 giants in each camp.
Okay.
Could be a problem. How about around the tower that's right there at the entrance to the valley? Can we tell about how many seem to be milling about the tower?
You
From the
can
outside,
see
obviously.
a couple of giant-sized figures at the base, and currently there appears to be one giant manning the tower itself, as far as you can see.
Okay. So, my first thought is to fly around them, come up from the ravine, and go straight to the largest tower and land in its tallest level. On the theory that it would take them a while to come up and get us there, and we could find whoever's there, confront them first, if the top of the tower is indeed where it...
If we want to sneak in, Gargon said there was a passage through a cave in the ravine. Can't see it from here. We'd have to get around to the ravine without being spotted. And then down into the ravine without being spotted.
Mhm.
But,
Or dying.
right. We'd rather not be swept away by the ravine.
Jason scared me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, that's
All
a
right.
secondary problem.
So
I mean,
off
that's
in the
no problem.
distance, you spot a figure flying out from the eastern mountains. As it gets closer to the fortress, you can tell that it is a very large red dragon.
I want a gun for him. Where did he come from? Can we tell more or less? Can we get a good estimation to where we need to go to find out where he came from?
It definitely came from somewhere to the east. You didn't notice when he immediately took off, so you're
Okay.
not sure. But definitely
have to
from the
watch.
mountains to the east.
Okay, so he's around the outside. Which, I mean, if we're making our way to the ravine, would be kind of on the way. Not exactly on the way, but in that general direction.
And he kind of circles the ring fortress for like maybe 10 minutes, and then flies off to the south.
I want him dead.
Well, he is a big ass spy for them too. Like if he sees us
He's a
and
problem.
doesn't try and just attack us outright, he could just be like, "Hey, look over there, everyone."
So if we can just blind that eye, that'll make it harder for them to see.
Ooh, yeah, blind.
Yeah, getting him when he's far from the camp does seem like it would be doable, but we don't really have a way to immobilize him, do we? Keep him
I
from
mean,
escaping.
we kill him.
Yeah, I think the only way we have is to actually.
If he starts trying to retreat into the air, Rock and I are the only ones that
I
can...
can prepare something for that. I just wouldn't be able to do it today.
It's not much I can.
It's not a guarantee, but I can prepare a spell or two to try and keep him grounded, were that to be an issue. So it would just have to be tomorrow. But we still need to find out where his lair is.
True. Or, yeah. Or just attack him while he's flying around somehow.
We can do that. It becomes riskier, but as you said, I would be willing to wait a day. I'd be willing to try and find where he's at, camp out nearby, maybe get some idea of his pattern, if he has a tendency to leave at a certain time, come back at a certain time that we could tell.
Yeah.
It seemed to be consistent, and then nature can prepare me tomorrow to bring him down from the skies.
Okay. Should we try to search the ravine for the cave today?
I'd rather take care of him first.
It'll be hard if he floats around. I feel like it would be easy to see us in the ravine.
Yeah, probably.
We're much more exposed.
That's a good point and a good call. Agree with that.
Okay.
What else could we spend?
The only
Today
other
on.
thought that I have is this tower here at the entrance of the valley. We can skirt it through the mountains. It's going to slow us down quite a lot, but we could do it.
I'm just watching Jason throw things around the map.
While they're talking, Asher, you notice from that central tower, that spire in the middle of Jorgenfist, two very large birds come like flapping out and glide off to the west.
Oh, giant birds.
Like really big, like bigger than rock.
Are they actual rocks?
I don't know. If
nature
giant
check?
birds.
Can I do a nature check, or is that something?
Yeah,
Asher
sure.
should do?
Yeah, no, nature.
Okay. Nature.
I'll point them out. Be like, Greshy, look at those birds.
Oh, 23. Not sure.
Was the 33 Asher's roll? Or did
I
Asher
didn't roll. I
No,
Oh, you
can
didn't roll. Okay.
That was a
I'll
previous roll.
roll. For fun and games. A 32. So,
Yeah, that's close.
yeah.
Sorry, and Greshy got, what was Greshy's?
23.
23.
Not a,
Okay.
Not a great roll.
Greshy, you're not sure. You only caught a slight glimpse of them. But
I saw a
Asher, yeah, those are actual rocks.
Oh, like they're made of rocks.
No,
No, it's a
they're
Kind
ROC.
of bird. ROC. It's a kind of bird. It's a very.
Oh, I'm
large
like,
bird.
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, they are
Flying rock.
gargantuan birds, known for hunting megafauna.
Oh,
they
shoot.
can grab like woolly mammoths and carry them through the air back to their like nests to feed on.
In a different game, I may have had an experience with a rock that went sideways.
Oh boy. So that's even harder.
Okay, so we definitely need some kind of anti-air.
Again, I can prepare something
Mhm.
now that I know what we're dealing with. I feel comfortable being prepared to bring them down to the ground.
We just have to make our rock even bigger. We sit around, we wait for him to age.
I'll just hang out here. So, what do we do about this tower? Do we skirt it?
I mean, there's only two options really. One is go around. The other is try to ambush the one giant on top of it from the air, which you only get one chance at that, and if you fail, he's gonna alert the city to our presence.
My worry is that, on the one hand, it's a greater risk if we're going around it and they're there. On the other hand, even if we're successful and we clear it out, somebody's going to reinforce.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come and relieve the watch or whatever.
They will eventually find that someone attacked their
And
watcher from
they'll
there.
know they're under attack. They may not have the specifics that they would if we were seen and they could report, but they'll still be on general alert because something happened to their watch. The best and most successful option is for us to sneak by and not be seen.
They seem to be on general alert either way.
Well, if they're
And-
planning to go to war, you I would imagine you'd want to
Uh-huh.
stay on general alert.
Now, I do agree with you. From a devil's advocate point of view, the question to ask would be, would he be able to misdirect them to think that the attack is coming from this side? And I would say no, because we would be attacking from the sky, and they would probably recognize that that means we could strike from any side.
Okay. So again, I think if we can get our best success, it's being sneaky and not being seen.
Mhm. If we could set up some kind of illusions from this side, that might be more of a misdirection, but
I'm
I
not an
was-
illusionist.
I don't think we have anything like that.
I was thinking if we had like far more time, we could spend time like
I mean,
around the mountains making very obvious distraction signs like big fire here, this over there.
Camps,
is
big
this
signs of a big
particular-
army camping
And
somewhere.
maybe like they would like go look at it and then there'd be less people, but that would take, I feel like even doing one wouldn't be enough. It would have to be like
Is this a
long
particularly
haul.
wooded area, or is it really more stony?
It's
Barren.
it's a lot more stony and barren.
Okay.
There is in some patches there's like a bit of fresh snow, but there's not a ton in the way of trees.
And
There's some
not
large
a lot
rocks
of snow
and
even
things.
this time of year.
There's a little in this valley. There's not a ton of snow currently.
What about the mountains near us?
The mountains near us, there are some of the mountains are a bit higher elevation and still maintain their snow. Yeah.
Okay.
If I have
And some of the to the south, there's even taller mountains that
I see. I
have
see.
active snow.
given
But you're kind of in a smaller region.
Okay, I want to ponder something in character here. Given an hour, how big of a sign could I make that like an army had camped somewhere? How could I make it look? Could I make like 100-person camp? Put a bunch of cook fire and tent and footprints signs.
I guess that depends on if you actually have all that stuff.
I have a tent. I could plop it down, pick it up, carry it somewhere else, plop it down.
Oh, I see.
Within an hour?
Um,
I mean, if we all helped out, perhaps.
make a bunch of campfires.
Make and extinguish campfires real quick. We'd have to find the wood, which
Or
I
just
think might be the
set them
hardest
up and let them burn out. Set them up at night. Hopefully they wouldn't investigate that night, but in the morning they would find evidence of tents and evidence of campfires. A bunch of tracks.
If only
Yeah, I
we
mean,
found your
with some
friend.
time, you could do some of it would be about supplies, like having the supplies to make enough campfires, or gathering enough supplies to make enough campfires for that to be reasonable.
Just burn all of Asher's arrows, it'll be fine.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, good thing we have these new arrows to burn.
We're gonna kind of need those, though.
Yeah, I
That's
can't think of a
fine.
specific number offhand, but obviously the more time you spend, the bigger the army you could make it look like.
Do we think a 100-person, like 10 campfires would be a reasonable amount to expect, or maybe 20 or 50, or what order of magnitude are we talking that I could probably make?
In an hour, I'll go with somewhere between 10 and 20
People or
people.
okay. So I could probably spend a whole day and make like a 200-person, make it look like there was a 200-person force.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Okay.
Anyways, that's not snow. I'm wondering if, as far as distractions go, we could cause an avalanche in a direction we're not in, obviously.
It doesn't look like there's anything close enough, except
I mean-
possibly that one watchtower.
If we're
Catch
looking
anybody.
to the southwest here, it's a little bit more snowy there. My biggest concern is I don't think any of us are sneaky enough to be able to set it off, escape. I mean, maybe you, Gunn, on Rock, could attempt to set off an avalanche, fly away, while the rest of us sneak by, not to be seen because they're distracted by the avalanche, perhaps what caused the avalanche. If we took some time to set it up as well, you could create your encampment nearby there. So they go to investigate the avalanche, they find the encampment, suddenly there's a whole thing for them to investigate. I will say, downside to the encampment plan is now they are on high alert because they know somebody's nearby.
I was thinking that they probably...
Sorry, what was it that Charlotte said?
No, I said high alert with less people. Because they scouted a little bit. 5 less people, probably.
Yeah, but they've got, like, potentially a couple hundred giants at this camp. Like, 200 maybe. And that's in the outside camps alone.
We're not counting anything else they have inside, plus lamias or whatever else. Just 8 people.
Yeah, from where you are, you can't really see inside the walls of
the Greshy's
Jorgenfist.
hanging around someplace here too, so there's entirely good chance they know we're coming regardless.
I can track the Greshy in her snaky form.
For the campsite plan to work, the fires should be big enough to be visible and far enough away that they don't expect us, that they don't get completely weirded out when they don't see that army, on the road between them and the camps that they find.
Do we know anything of the Shanti people? Which is kind of to say that I want to do some sort of society check about it, but more the question specifically is, do we know enough about them that they would leave traces?
Give me a society check.
Throw the dice around. That's a natural 20 for a total of 36.
You know a lot.
I know something of
yeah,
Shanti.
I mean, you would know pretty explicitly that they are fairly leave no trace behind.
That's what I would have thought.
They are, many of them tend to be pretty close to nature, and view the land as something that they should protect. They probably wouldn't leave behind lots of debris. Like, the campsite that you saw before was all very carefully dismantled.
Do stone giants naturally have dark vision? I think they do, right?
I believe you determined that stone giants do have dark vision.
That probably means that they would not be as fooled by campfires in the distance as...
I want us to go, before we set up any sort of distraction or anything, let's go talk to the Shanti.
Where do we find them?
Sure. Where do we find them?
Well, they flew away on griffins. How am I supposed to know?
I imagine that they don't live on griffins. If we look around a bit, I imagine we can find some place where they might actually make camp. And if they do, them being close to nature and more associated with nature, there may be somebody amongst them that I can talk with.
I can try and hunt them down by looking for specific things.
If nothing else, it's better to have us with the tribe fighting these giants versus 5 of us fighting these giants.
Yeah, I was also thinking like, hey, maybe if we found Gunn's buddy, he could run around doing distractions around in back and get more out.
That would be useful. If nothing else, if they can set up the distraction Gunn was talking about, if they can set off an avalanche, if they can do some sort of distraction while we sneak by, gives us something to work with.
We can try.
And we're all doing this for the benefit of them too. I don't think they
So-
want giants around any more than we do.
What I'm thinking so far is that we spend this day, like, we kind of leave the area of Jorgenfist and we stay far enough away to not be seen by the watchtowers, at least. We spend the day looking for either the Shough people or Longtooth's lair somewhere off to the east, northeast.
We know where Longtooth's lair will be. It's in the mountains. It's in a cave off to the east. I have no idea where to find the Shough. That's going to take the time.
I can certainly start doing that today.
I think we should find the Shough, and once we found them, planning will be different anyway.
I think we can extrapolate somewhat of a direction that they probably wouldn't be on the exact opposite side of Jorgenfist of where they camped last night.
Mhm.
So the most likely direction for them to be is somewhere on the north and northeast as well.
Well,
Yes.
I
'Cause
think we
we-
should find the Shough. We should try and see if we can make allies.
We've sort of come from the southwest,
Oh no, I'm gonna have to talk to them.
and the southeast is where the
You're so good at talking.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
so much better at it.
Can I hunt prey or hunt around as an animal, or do I have to do that action as a person?
No, you can do it as an animal.
Okay, because I can go faster as an animal if you
and
want.
be less
really faster.
suspicious.
Yeah, that's true. I can kind of make a bunch of noise.
And as Asher's looking around as an animal, you know,
I mean, you might get hunted, but
the
you
dwarf-
That's okay.
the dwarf on a dog covered in moss and the human riding an eagle will be absolutely not
yeah, we'll just be
fine.
3 animals.
Three animals, nobody will notice the humans, and that'll be fine.
The human can be invisible, the other human can be an animal, and then the dwarf can be really dirty and hide in the moss.
Okay, so it sounds like you're going to back out of the Valley of the Black Tower and try to hunt down the Shough to see if you can find where they are.
Aye.
With
Yep.
Asher
And
doing...
Longtooth's, and potentially the exact location of Longtooth's lair.
We won't start with the Shough, but I agree.
Yeah, you'll have to pick one of the two
Fair enough.
to start with.
Shough.
Aye. Shough.
Okay.
Wanty.
All right, so yeah, you guys back out the direction that you came, towards the northwest, in search of the Shough tribe that you encountered last night. Asher will be doing. It sounds like Asher is morphing into an animal, or no?
Yeah, I'll be an elk. Though those
Okay.
aren't very big hunters, they're fast. I can go
All right.
60 when
They're
I'm
good
out.
noses, I'm sure.
Okay.
How long can you
Asher-
stay an elk?
Oh yeah.
An hour, but then I have to meditate for 10 minutes and I can do it again.
Nice.
So,
Okay, so yeah, you guys back out of the valley first, and once you're a good, safe distance away from Jorgenfist, Asher wild shapes into an elk, and you attempt to seek out the Shough, with Asher doing some tracking, and I presume the others doing avoid notice still.
Well, I might go up on rock like a couple of times, and use the charge of invisibility each time to get a look around that can give us some initial ideas. Like if we find a clue or something, I can scout a little bit.
Okay,
Well, invisible,
but I
just
guess
with the-
at first though, before any clues are found, you're
Yeah,
you're
I think
avoiding
so.
those. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Well then, with the group seeking out the Shough for help, I think that is where we're going to call it for the evening.
good call.
Huzzah! You've made it to Jorgenfist. She'll see what you figure out what to do there, if you figure out what to do there, how you figure out what to do there,
We're just
and
gonna
why you figure out what to do there. And yeah, how is that going to just devolve into fighting literally everyone?
Oh, I mean, the goal is to pull
As
the
it usually
whole
does.
thing once we get there, so it'll be fine.
I sure hope not. Anyway, that'll be it for tonight. Thanks everybody for playing. What's going on in the background? I don't know. It's maybe because I put my
It's
hand
sunny.
It's a bright, sunshiny day.
up. Beautiful,
Good
bright, sunshiny day.
morning.
GG to
Oh,
all. Good night. Oh, it fixed itself,
Night.
sort of. I don't know what's going on. All right, you can find us every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/thirdaction. We're also on YouTube when I get around to uploading them to YouTube. We're on podcasts when I get around to uploading them on podcasts. What the hell is going on with Will's face? We
I like
are
it.
gone. Good night.